Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Before we begin this video, don't forget to give it a like. It truly encourages us to keep sharing beneficial content, inshallah. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss our future videos on faith, spirituality, and Islamic reminders. Barakallahu feekum. May Allah bless you and enjoy the video. Many people often wonder how Allah communicates with them. They seek clarity in times of uncertainty, especially when it comes to big life decisions like marriage or relocating to a new place. While we may not hear a voice from the sky or receive a physical letter, Allah in His infinite wisdom and mercy speaks to us in ways that are deeply personal, subtle, and powerful. One of the most beautiful aspects of our faith is that Allah is always near, always listening, and always guiding, sometimes in ways we don't immediately recognize. Allah tells us in the Quran, "And when my servants ask you about me, indeed I am near. I respond to the call of the caller when he calls upon me." 2:86. This verse reminds us that Allah is not distant, He is close, present in every moment, aware of our thoughts, our feelings, and our silent prayers. When you feel a restlessness in your heart, a desire for more, or a pull towards something greater, it could be a sign that Allah is guiding you. Sometimes, that nudge comes in the form of discomfort with your current situation, feeling like you've outgrown your environment, like your soul is yearning for companionship, or that there is something missing in your life. These are not just random emotions. They can be divine whispers encouraging you to prepare for the next chapter. We live in a world full of distractions, and in the midst of our daily routines, we may overlook the spiritual signs that Allah places along our path. These signs are not always dramatic or supernatural. They can be found in repeated thoughts that won't leave you, in conversations that seem perfectly timed, in recurring themes you hear in sermons or read in the Quran. You might start seeing people talk about marriage when you were never thinking about it. Or you might find yourself suddenly drawn to a specific city or country even though you never planned to go there. These signs are like gentle taps on the shoulder from your Creator, encouraging you to open your heart to what He has written for you. But how can we tell the difference between a random thought and a divine sign? The answer lies in our connection with Allah. When we purify our hearts and sincerely seek guidance, Allah makes the way clear. It starts with intention. When you make the intention to be guided by Him, and you truly open yourself to His will, He responds. That's when certain feelings begin to make more sense. A name might keep coming to your mind, or you may keep seeing references to marriage or moving. Even dreams can sometimes play a role. While not all dreams are messages, some are. A dream that brings you peace or clarity could be a form of spiritual reassurance. It's important to mention that Allah's signs are always in alignment with what is good, pure, and beneficial for us. They never come with confusion, panic, or contradiction. If something is from Allah, it will be accompanied by a sense of calm in your heart, even if it seems challenging. That peace is a spiritual indicator that you're being led towards something that is part of your destiny. And sometimes, the sign is not in the appearance of something new, but in the closing of old doors. When certain relationships fall apart, when opportunities suddenly vanish, or when you're removed from places where you were once comfortable, it may be because Allah is redirecting you. This redirection is not a punishment, it's a protection, it's a preparation. You may be praying for a spouse and Allah is working behind the scenes, removing the wrong people, healing you from past wounds, or positioning someone else to come into your life at the perfect moment. Likewise, He may be aligning circumstances so that your relocation brings new blessings, new people, and new growth.
When both marriage and moving are coming together in your life, it's a clear sign that transformation is on the horizon. And when you feel this transformation in your soul, before it even happens in your physical world, that's your confirmation. At this stage, your job is not to figure out every detail. It's to remain in a state of trust and readiness. Continue to make dua. Talk to Allah like a close friend. Pour your heart out in sujood and say, Ya Allah, if this is from you, make it easy. Open the doors, guide my heart, and remove all fear. The more you rely on Him, the more signs will become clear. Your heart will begin to recognize what your eyes cannot yet see. What you're feeling right now isn't a coincidence. If you've been drawn to this message, if your heart is fluttering, if you've been thinking about marriage and moving but weren't sure what it meant, this may very well be your confirmation. Allah is preparing something beautiful for you. He's not silent. He's speaking. The question is, are you listening? Marriage is one of the most sacred and profound institutions in Islam. It is more than just a social contract. It is a spiritual journey, a completion of faith, and a path through which Allah allows us to experience love, mercy, growth, and companionship. When Allah prepares someone for marriage, it is never random. It is intentional, purposeful, and filled with wisdom. Even if that process includes delays, heartbreaks, or waiting longer than expected. What many people don't realize is that when you start feeling a strong desire to get married, a pure, sincere longing to build a life with someone in the name of Allah, that feeling itself can be a sign that your soul is being prepared for something sacred. In the Quran, Allah says, "And among His signs is that He created for you from yourselves mates that you may find tranquility in them. And He placed between you affection and mercy." Indeed, in that are signs for a people who reflect. Surah Ar-Rum 30:21. This verse shows us that marriage is not just a worldly desire, but a divine sign. Allah has already created the bond, the love and mercy that will exist between you and your spouse. It's not something you have to force. It's already written. When the time is right, Allah aligns the souls, the timing, and the circumstances so that everything falls into place. But what happens in the waiting? What happens in the silence when you see others getting married and you're still wondering when it will be your turn? The truth is, that period of waiting is not empty. It is a phase of preparation. Sometimes, Allah doesn't bring someone into your life because He is still working on you, healing wounds, strengthening your identity, helping you understand your worth. Other times, He's preparing the other person. And maybe your future spouse is learning, growing, or going through tests that are shaping them into the person you'll one day meet. Trust that Allah is working on both sides of the story. The desire for marriage is natural. Islam does not shame it. In fact, the Prophet Muhammad encouraged marriage and made it clear that it protects a person's faith and dignity. He said, "When a man marries or has fulfilled half of his religion, so let him fear Allah regarding the remaining half." Al-Bayhaqi. This hadith reminds us that marriage is not just about finding someone to love. It's about building a life that helps you grow closer to Allah. A good spouse will support your deen, pray with you, remind you of your purpose, and walk beside you during trials. When Allah is preparing you for marriage, you may begin to notice shifts in your character and heart. You might become more patient, more intentional with your du'as, more committed to becoming the kind of person you want to attract. You may begin to let go of past relationships or toxic cycles that no longer serve your growth. These are not small signs. They are big internal changes, signaling that your soul is maturing and aligning with divine timing. Sometimes, people enter your life briefly and leave. They may seem like the answer to your prayers at first, but then something happens that ends the connection. Don't be discouraged. That is Allah's protection. You may have prayed for the right person, and Allah removed the wrong ones. Every rejection, every breakup, every disappointment was not a setback. It was a redirection. Allah knows who your soul needs. He knows the temperament, the faith level, the wounds, the dreams of the person you will one day marry. That's why it's so important not to settle out of fear or loneliness. What is written for you will come. Not early, not late, but at the exact moment Allah has ordained. Your role in this journey is not to chase people, but to prepare yourself for what you are asking Allah for. Are you ready to give love, not just receive it? Are you emotionally available? Are you committed to building a marriage rooted in taqwa, not ego? Are you making dua not just for a wedding, but for a successful and blessed marriage that will stand the tests of time? Sometimes, Allah also tests your sincerity. You may ask for marriage, but then He delays it, not to hurt you, but to deepen your faith. Will you still believe in His plan even when you can't see it? Will you still praise Him in the silence? That patience, that trust, is part of what prepares your heart to receive the blessing when it finally arrives. You may also notice that your surroundings begin to change. You might be introduced to new people, communities, or even places that seem to gently lead you towards something new. That's often a sign that your path is unfolding. You won't need to force it. The conversations, meetings, and introductions that matter will flow. They will feel different, not rushed, not chaotic, but peaceful and easy. That's how divine things happen. If you're watching this and your heart feels connected to these words, know this: Allah hasn't forgotten your du'as. Your desire for marriage is not being ignored, it's being processed, protected, and perfected. When the time comes, it won't just be a union between two people. It will be a union between two destinies, written by the one who knows you better than you know yourself. So stay hopeful, stay prepared, and keep your heart open. What's meant for you is already on its way. Sometimes, the next stage of your life doesn't begin with a new relationship. It begins with a change in location. You might feel restless in your current environment. What once felt comfortable now feels limiting. This shift, this unease, is not random. It can be a sign that Allah is preparing you to relocate, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, to a place where His blessings are waiting for you. Moving is not always about geography, it's about alignment. Allah might be removing you from a space that no longer serves your growth and guiding you toward a place that will hold the next chapter of your purpose. Throughout Islamic history, relocation has been part of divine transformation. The most powerful example is the Hijrah, the migration of the Prophet Muhammad from Mecca to Medina. It wasn't just a move, it was the beginning of a new era. Allah commanded it not to punish the believers, but to protect them and position them for victory. What looked like a loss at first became the opening of unimaginable blessings. Sometimes, the places you outgrow are the ones Allah never intended for you to stay in forever. When a door closes, when a city no longer feels like home, or when opportunities dry up, it might not be failure. It might be direction. Relocating doesn't mean you're running away. It can mean you're stepping into something that was always meant for you. Maybe your spouse is in another city. Maybe your career, your healing, your spiritual growth is tied to a place you haven't been yet. Allah knows the unseen. He knows what version of you will bloom in a different environment. And sometimes, the journey to that new place is where the real transformation happens. You may begin to notice signs. Perhaps you're drawn to a specific place for no clear reason. You start dreaming about it. People randomly bring it up in conversation. Doors begin to open. Visas get approved. Jobs appear. Housing becomes available. These are not coincidences. They're confirmations. When something is written for you, the path often unfolds with ease, even if it starts with uncertainty. It's normal to feel fear before a big move. But fear doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. In fact, trusting Allah often requires stepping into the unknown. You don't need to know exactly what's waiting. You just need to trust the one who is leading you there. Make dua, seek clarity through istikhara, and ask Allah to guide your steps. If He is truly calling you to relocate, He will confirm it with peace in your heart and ease in your path. Sometimes Allah moves you to bless you, to protect you, to grow you. So if you feel the pull, if everything around you is shifting, don't resist. You might be standing on the edge of a new beginning. When you start seeing signs, whether it's about marriage, relocation, or a major life shift, the natural question that follows is this really from Allah? The desire for clarity is human. But in the realm of faith, certainty often comes not through logic, but through spiritual signs, deep inner peace, and divine timing. Allah, in His mercy, never leaves His servants confused without reason. When He wants you to know that something is for you, He will place confirmations in your path, not to pressure you, but to prepare you. One of the strongest confirmations from Allah is a consistent sense of peace that stays with you even when you're stepping into the unknown. It's not the absence of fear, but the presence of a deep reassurance that says, "This is right for me." When something is from Allah, it doesn't require endless chasing or begging. It flows. You may still have to take steps and do your part, but the overall process will not be filled with chaos and anxiety. Instead, you'll notice doors opening naturally, hearts aligning, and timing falling into place in ways you could not have planned yourself. Another way Allah confirms a path is through repeated signs. You might hear the same message from multiple sources. A verse in the Quran that keeps appearing, a khutbah that speaks directly to your situation, or even strangers saying things that touch a nerve in your heart. These repeated signs are a way for Allah to remind you, "I'm guiding you, keep paying attention." When something is from Him, He makes it known gently but clearly. Dreams can also play a role, especially when paired with dua and istikhara. While not every dream is a message, a dream that brings clarity, calm, or direction can sometimes be part of Allah's way of confirming something for you. After praying istikhara, if you feel a calm resolve, or circumstances begin to move in a clear direction, that's a strong sign you're being guided. Another confirmation is ease after dua. You might be struggling with a decision, and then you sincerely pour your heart out to Allah. Soon after, a message, opportunity, or person appears, unexpectedly, but perfectly timed. It's not magic, it's divine alignment. When Allah responds, it often comes with quiet power. Finally, trust your heart, not your emotions, but your fitra, the part of your soul that's naturally connected to Allah. If your heart feels drawn, peaceful, and unshaken in a decision, especially after sincere prayer and consultation, trust that. That's part of the confirmation you seek. If this message reaches you at a time when your heart has been full of questions, understand this. Maybe this is your confirmation. Allah sees you, He hears you, and when He gives a sign, He gives it in a way your soul will recognize. You just have to be still enough to listen. May Allah bless you and guide you to a life filled with mercy, love, and tranquility.